Okay, here we go. I'm all organized. Okay, welcome to my live. This is one of my unscheduled ones. So they're usually slower, plus Facebook is my slowest live. So that means I usually get to all the questions, which is very rewarding for me because on Instagram and TikTok, it just gets too crazy. So on here, I can usually answer all the questions. So you can ask right away if you want to. My name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on the link above, you can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can hire me for coaching. I don't even know what I'm saying when I say that. I say it every single day. So I don't hear myself. Lord knows what I'm really saying. I hope I said that right. I just had this vision that I said that wrong. Anyway, yeah, what did I say? Anyway, okay, you get the idea. So I'm just here answering questions, and it's anywhere from baby, or you could just be pregnant even and want to know what's coming. I teach parent-child relationships and how to get respect by giving it, and right through the teen years. So actually, I specialize in teenagers. So, but most people on here have little ones. So that's why most of the questions are toddler based. But yeah, hi, watch you a lot. Thanks so much, Sarah. Appreciate your support. That means a lot to me. It really does, because people, you give up your time to sit and watch me. And hopefully I'm helping. I know I am, because people tell me every day that I'm helping on these lives, which is what keeps me coming. If I wasn't helping, why would I do this? You know, I'm busy, right? So, but I love doing this. So, plus, not everyone's going to hire me. Not everyone can afford to hire me. So this way, I'm giving out information for free to people who don't want to hire me or can't afford to or whatever. So yeah, it's win-win. Okay. Okay. Every time I see the name Heidi, I think of the book. That was, I think, the first book I ever read, like a real book that I actually read. It was, you know, thicker, like a big girl book. And it was Heidi. I just loved it. I kept that till I was like in my 50s probably, and then I had to throw it out. It just kind of disintegrated. Anyway, parenting questions. Come on, guys. We got 16 of you in there. If you're on YouTube, you can ask a question on there too. But yeah, I'm just here to answer parenting questions. I've got some questions already lined up here. I just don't feel like reading them out. I've been coaching all day. I'm just kind of nice to not have to talk for a minute. Anyway, I'm just waiting for your questions here. So whatever you want to ask about any age. Okay, this is from Sandra. I'm a parent of a neurodivergent child. I'd love to hear about strategies and tips for parenting a strong-willed, highly sensitive, autistic 9-year-old boy with, didn't finish that. Anyway, I don't discuss autism on social media. Sorry, I just don't, because they're also individual. If I tell you something that's worked with other autistic children, they're also different too. And if it doesn't work, I'd feel bad. So I don't like to generalize about autism. And this is what this is all about on here, sort of general parenting advice. If you want me to work with you, you'd have to hire me for coaching. And you'd have to send me an email and tell me what you want me to work on. I can't take everybody. I'm really busy right now. But yeah. ADHD. Yeah, ADHD. That's where I learned all this, is kids who had ADHD. Those are all the ones I worked with. Yeah, autism's different though. What tips do you have for getting children to lay down to sleep at night? I have 2 girls age 7 and 9. Okay, I do have a bedtime battles course, but that's not for a 9-year-old. It only goes up to 8. Sorry, I've just got so many messages coming in. Anyway, it only goes up to 8. So bedtime battles. Would I still do the same thing? No, I wouldn't. They're 7 and 9. You know what I would do? Because you got a 9-year-old. I would say, look, you have to go to. Wait a minute, I'm going to read what you said about bedtime. Children lay down to sleep at night. Okay, so I would say you have to go to bed. You don't have to fall asleep, but you have to lay there in the dark. Okay, I don't want to hear from you. And put it on the behavior board. Say, this is the new rule. You go to bed. I don't want to hear from you. You stay in bed quietly. You can lay awake with your eyes open till midnight. I don't care. But you can't look at phones or anything. And you can't have a light on. You just have to lay there and try and fall asleep. If you break that rule, there's a consequence, okay? But you never, that's on the behavior board. Check that out. That's completely free. So just put down follow bedtime schedule or something, and then have a consequence if they don't. They're old enough. I would do it that way with older kids. That's a great answer. Was it? I don't even think I answered you. Sorry about that. Were you being sarcastic? Yeah, I didn't really answer you. I can't answer that, you know, on here. I can't. It's like when someone says, what do I do when I got a teenage runaway pregnant girl? Yeah, that's a quick answer here on Facebook. So that's a coaching issue. Some things are just more involved. I have to assess the situation. Plus, especially with autistic children or any child with any kind of challenge, I have to analyze and assess what has worked in the past and what hasn't. So, they're all different, right? I've worked with tons of autistic kids, but I've never talked about them on social media. I don't talk about it. Okay. How to help 3.5-year-old get on track when father isn't on board and child is copying behavior. Copying the dad's behavior? Whose behavior are they copying? Anyway, kids only need one leader, and the other parent should defer to the leader. Just, say, look, we're just doing this thing now. Let's just give it a go. Please give me 3 weeks and check it out. You can check out my boot camp course. That's probably your best bet. You'll save a lot of money. If you want to hire me, that's a lot more money. But the boot camp course, if you've just got general parenting stuff that you want to get sorted out, the boot camp course is perfect. Some people just want the one-on-one anyway, but that's fine. But anyway, the boot camp course, check it out. Sets you up as a leader. And then you say to the other parent, say, look, can you just defer to me? Like, I'll be the leader, and then we'll see how it goes. Give me 3 weeks. Just barter with them. Give them 3 weeks. I won't tell you how some moms get the dad on board with this. So more than a few have told me this. I said, how do you get them on board? I said, how did you get them on board? And they've used all sorts of interesting tactics. And they've told me in great detail. Once people have been working with me for a while, they tend to just let it all fly. Yeah, it's funny. Okay, I have a son who has ADHD and a very high strung, and he does not want to go to school at home. Does not want to do schoolwork at home. I try to get him, but he gets to 70. Okay, he's 10. Well, ADHD is irrelevant to me. That just means he's a little bit higher spirited, right? So yeah, he's 10 years old. He doesn't want to do schoolwork at home. Does he have anything that he likes to do, like any screen time? Say, sure, you can go and play on your PlayStation as soon as you've done your homework, and I will be reviewing it. So, and always have them do their schoolwork in front of you at the kitchen table, and always be able to look at the screen. So, and it's so funny. I used to do a lot of TV years and years ago, a long time ago, when TV was still big. I used to do a lot of news and breakfast TV and that. They're all gone now. Anyway, so it's not worth my time anymore. But anyway, one time I was saying about how, what you've got to do is when you're watching your kids do their homework, you supervise that. And they say, yeah, he still wasn't doing anything, but they had the screen turned away and they couldn't see it. I don't know exactly what I'm sure that teenage boy was looking at too. So it's just struck me as so funny. You have to be able to see the screen, okay, if they're supposedly doing homework on a screen. Thank you. I need to get one of your behavior boards. Yeah, check it out. They're all free. The behavior boards, well, they're not. They're all free. It's just a behavior board, and it is free. It always was. I invented that 16 years ago, put the parents on it, and I haven't changed it in 16 years. It just works. I've been using it with my clients now for 16 years. I've been coaching for 17 years. I didn't have that in the first year. I was teaching what I did. Well, I don't teach that. I'm level 10 with what I did. I teach you level 1, then level 2, and that's the behavior board's a teaching tool. Like, I never would have used a behavior board. So it just has worked beautifully. I haven't changed it in 16 years. That says a lot about it. And a lot of my clients take it to work and use it with their staff. They use like tongue-in-cheek humor with it. Like, if you're 10 minutes late, you can't turn up without donuts. Stuff like that. They use it like in fun. So yeah. How to respond to negative self-talk. 8-year-old female. I suck. I'm a bad kid. Okay, I don't know when that happens. Does it happen when they're upset, like if they've been punished or you're disciplining them? Then I would kind of ignore it. But if it happens when they're going around Dumbo at the Disneyland, then I would wonder. So when are they saying it? I need to know the context. Is it when everything's supposedly going happy and great? Then I'd say, well, let's talk about this. But if it's only because they're mad because they didn't get their own way, I'd go, whatever. Oh, dad's behavior. That's cute. The kids picking up on dad's bad behavior. Yeah, you might want to hire me and bring dad along. It's quite funny too, because often I'm hired, usually by the moms. Dads are fixers, and this is kind of rude. I'm sure there's no kids on here. But anyway, I always say to the dad, because often the mom's sitting like this. She's all in the first session. The dad's like this in the background. He doesn't want to be there. And the wife said, I don't know why he doesn't want to do this. Some of them do. Some of the dads are really into this. Anyway, and I say the reason why dads don't always want to hire me is because they are fixers. And if they can't fix their family, they feel like it's a kick in the nuts. They feel like less of a man. But I say, it has nothing to do with that. It's parenting is a skill that's learned. Okay, shouldn't just come naturally. And I'm not fixing your family. You are. I'm just guiding you. But anyway, so it's quite funny. But the wives are often quite frustrated that the husbands aren't into it. But I get it. I didn't understand men until I raised one. And now I get it. I watched one form. He was my girlfriend. And then he was 15 and started turning into a man. I thought, oh, I get it. No matter what I did, he's turning into a man. He used to say, I'm not your girlfriend anymore, Mom. I'm like, oh. And then I had a crying fit, and that was it. A 6-year-old often speaks to his parents with disrespect. He'll respond with no when asked to do something. Okay, look at my boot camp course. It's all about you and your leadership. You lead, they will follow. You lead, they will respect you. You show them respect, they will respect you. You've got to give it to get it. That's why you're on that behavior board. You have to give respect to get it, okay? Check that out. The boot camp course might be perfect for you. If not, just check out the behavior board. That's completely free. Boot camp course isn't. It goes like this. Behavior board, free. Boot camp course, coaching. Some people get the boot camp course and coaching. They want, because they're both 5 weeks now. They're both 5 sessions for coaching and 5 weeks in the boot camp course. They want to go through it with me. And that's fine. You do whatever you want to do. I don't think that's necessary, but some people really want that personal attention. You get a lot, obviously coaching, you get a lot of personal attention, right? Then would the dad not discipline? Yeah, he's still on there. He's still on that behavior board. Get him on that behavior board and you'll see, just check it out. He's got to be on there. It's got to be a rule for dad. Okay, I have a 2.5-year-old who will only go to sleep if I lay with her. Check out my Bedtime Battles course. It's one of my mini toddler courses, and it's in 2 parts. It's how to get them in bed as part 1. That's the easy part. How to keep them in bed as part 2. That's the hard part. It's going to be one hell of a night, by the way. It's going to get ugly, but it's worth it. Might just be one really bad night. Depends. Might be 2 or 3, but it's usually cured pretty quickly, especially at that age. They're so little. Okay, my son is 8. Oh boy, you're going to hate my answer. It's a big answer, but it doesn't seem like it should be. My son is 8. He gets mad while playing games and always breaks the TV or phone. How would you handle? Okay, he's a right fighter. If I don't win, I'm a loser. Winning is everything. Losing is failing. Losing is being less of a person. It affects his self-esteem. Work on his good sportsmanship. Don't make winning the focus. My mom used to say, and this is into my 50s and my brother like a lot older, and she used to say all the time, you're such good sports. She was so proud of the fact she raised good sports because she hated a bad sport, someone who just didn't like to lose. To her, that was a real character flaw. She just couldn't stand it. So she made sure she raised good sports. What she used to do is whenever we'd play games, and we played games all the time. My mom was a real gamer, like cards. I learned how to play crib at 5 years old. So anyway, I'm not great at it, but I learned really young. You'd think I'd be better at it. Anyway, my daughter whoops me every time we play crib. It's not fair. Anyway, so she would always emphasize how well we played. She used to say it's better to lose and play well than to win through luck. So she always emphasized how well we played, never who won. She never made a big deal out of it. Like losing to her was nothing. That just means that you didn't get the right cards, or, like it's no big deal. So that's right fighting. It tends to build right fighters too. That same trait. Winning is everything. Winning is everything. Yeah, it's not. It's the people who aren't right fighters are the easier ones to be around anyway. The ones who are good sports, they're easier to be around. How to respond, 2-year-old hits you in the face when she doesn't get what she wants. Okay, I have a course. It's on toddlers who hit, bite, etc. It's one of my mini toddler courses. It's in the link above. Check that out. It goes into great detail about what you do. Under the age of 3, they're not about words and you can't use the behavior board. They're about consistent corrective actions. So if they hit, you take their hand, you say no, and then you push them away a little bit, and then you just get up and wander off and do your chores or something. No anger, you're calm as anything. But they learn through repetition. They're not going to learn the first time. My daughter gets frustrated and does the negative self-talk. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know. I could guess. I think I'd be right, but I could be wrong too. So I don't want to guess where she gets that from. Negative self-talk, just generally. Yeah. You're not going to like this answer. It's learned behavior. It's usually done through observation. Anyway, if you want to work with me, you could hire me for that, but I'd have to assess where it's coming from. Yeah. Because, oh, never mind. I could go on and on and on. And I could be wrong. That's the thing. Usually I spurt out what I'm thinking. Pretty sure I'm right. I could be wrong, though. Anyway, if you want my help, you have to email me and tell me what you want to. If you want to work with me, just email me and tell me that, and put coaching in the subject, and then tell me why you want to hire me. And I'll see if I can fit you in or if it's a good fit. Because I'm just so busy these days, so I have to be more careful. I just can't hire. I can't take on everyone. Okay. My 8-year-old self-criticism is worrying me. Yeah, that would bother me too. Yeah, that would bother me. That's coaching. If they're negative self-talk and they're 8 years old, especially, they're heading into the tween or preteen years, you kind of want to figure out where that's coming from. I'd have to assess that and figure it out. It might not be what you think. I don't know. What's the best way to get in touch with you for coaching? You'd have to email me. It's all the link above. Just go to my website, or Lisa@Bratbusters is my email. And I might not get back to you right away because if I'm too busy coaching, I can't take you on anyway. So it just depends. Every day is different. But sometimes I can get people in the next day if I get a cancellation. So I never know. But if you're going to hire me, you have to tell me why you want to hire me. Then I'll see if I can fit you in, because I like to mix it up a bit to keep it interesting for me too. If it's all 2-year-olds, I might pass one of those up for a teenage parent. You see what I mean? Not a teenage parent, but a parent of teenagers. So, but yeah, you have to let me know why you want to, and then I'll send you an invoice if I think it's a good fit. Then you pay that. Then I send you a welcome email. Then you have to answer a questionnaire. It's all done via email, like right in email, so it's easy to do. But the forms, you have to sign a consent form and a waiver, and they have to figure out how to do that. I've given you some instructions, but a lot of people struggle with that, as would I. So yeah, it usually takes a day or two. Some people, God, I got someone last week. They did the questionnaire, filled out the forms, and signed them and sent them back to me within half an hour. That's the fastest ever anyone's ever done that. Struck me as hilarious. And I think they even did it on their phone. Like, I can barely answer a text. Anyway, it struck me as so funny. Wow. They were really, really anxious to get going. I was so impressed. Okay, my 8-year-old daughter, a lot of 8-year-olds here, or is it the same one? And I'm just reading different things. Okay, my 8-year-old daughter has been getting in trouble more at school since she started spending time with a group of kids that are frequently causing problems. How can I encourage her to spend more time with her old friends or disassociate with new friends? You can't. Here's what you do. You set yourself up as a leader. They come and they tell you everything, and they want to please you, and they avoid the bad kids and go towards the good kids. Is it that simple? It's hard to do, but it's that simple. It's work. But it's that simple. When you're a leader, they tell you everything, and they are more drawn to the good kids because they want to please you at that age. Not in the teen years. That's different. But yeah, that's how you do it. Set yourself up as a leader. It's all you've got. You can't possibly tell them not to hang out with certain kids. She's 8 now. She'll be 10 soon, and they'll find ways of getting to those naughty kids. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, work on your leadership skills. You can check out my boot camp course that goes to the age of 12, or you can hire me for coaching. You have to email me and tell me why you want to work with me to see, because I can't fit everyone in anymore. So your leadership skills, it's the only power you have over their social life. It's the only power you have. Trust me on that. At 8, you have a bit more power, but you don't want just temporary power over an 8-year-old. You could strong arm her by saying you're not allowed to see them, but by the time she's 10 or 11, she'll find a way. So you don't want to strong arm her with that. You want to set yourself up as a leader. And they tell you everything. They want to please you. Therefore, they don't tend to get in trouble. They just don't. Where do I find the behavior board? Everything that I have to offer in my business is in the link above. Or I don't know, where am I? Am I on Facebook? Yeah. I don't know. I don't do my social media, and I never spend any time on it, so I don't know anything about it. But I know the person who does it. It's in a link somewhere. It's one link, and it goes to everything I have to offer. Or you can just go to Bratbusters.com. Be careful with that, though. Bratbusters.com. There are some fake me's out there making money off of my profile. So if it's me, obviously I'm me here now. So the link that you see on here is me. But yeah, some people have been swindled out of money because people are pretending to be me. So there's nothing I can do about that. Anyway, so yeah, the link in here when I'm talking, that's me. Okay, I gotta go now. I'm gonna be moving over to Instagram. I'm on YouTube the whole time, and then I'll answer your question on YouTube when I'm moving over. So I'm going to Instagram. That's a really busy live. Instagram and TikTok are really busy. I don't get to all the questions over there, but I do my best. This is actually the slowest one, which is good because I usually get to all the questions, or most of them anyway. Okay, thanks so much for joining me. Check out the link above for my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can hire me for coaching. And happy parenting. Where am I going? Instagram. Come on. Okay, so this is Kat on YouTube. Should a 3.5-year-old know the letters of the alphabet? No interest. Normal for now? No interest. No. Oh yeah, no big deal. I don't worry. Don't ever worry about accelerated learning. They'll eventually catch up. They've got how many years in school to learn all that stuff? Don't rush them. I don't rush that stuff. I allow them to play in the mud for as long as possible. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot of years to learn stuff like that. The thing is that you can drag it all out when they're little, and then they go to school when they're ready to learn, and they learn it all in like 1 week. So don't, yeah. I'm actually very against accelerated learning. I'd rather kids be playing in the mud when they're 2, that kind of stuff. Okay, so hello, Instagram. Welcome to my live. This is one of my unscheduled lives. I just turn up when I've got time between coaching. So, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So if you go on the link above, you can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can hire me for coaching. I can't take everyone for coaching. If you do send me an email, put coaching in the subject, tell me why you want to hire me. If I don't get to your email, it just means I'm not taking on new clients right now anyway, but I'll get to it eventually. Okay, but if you're in crisis or if you're a past client, you can put that in the subject line. I'll look at those right, especially the crisis work. And don't put crisis, we're going nuts because our kids are having tantrums all the time. That's not crisis. Someone did that the other day, and I wrote, that's not crisis. That's funny. And they said, yeah, but you said you'd look at it if it said crisis. I appreciated their humor, so I took them on anyway, but I thought it was pretty funny. Okay, how do you manage jealousy from 6-year-old when a 2-year-old is sick? Too bad. They've got to learn compassion and empathy. 2-year-old's sick. Is this a long-term illness? That's a little bit different. I need to know the difference. Or are they just sick for like a couple of weeks of the flu? Do you know what I mean? Is it a serious illness? That's different. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. 14-month-old just screams during diaper change and putting on clothes after bath. Any suggestions? No, just keep following through as calm as possible. And I always say actions speak louder than words. Don't talk to them while they're doing that. You just keep changing them, make it happen. And they could have like a leg in an armhole, I don't care. Just make sure you get them dressed and don't worry about it. I'll tell you a good example of why this works. My ex-husband and I was the leader, he was the pleaser. We were very aware of our different roles, and we were there's usually a leader and a pleaser in the family, and that's just fine, as long as the pleaser defers to the leader, which he did. Anyway, this was funny. I remember our son was our oldest, and he started kicking up a storm during diaper changes. I don't remember how old, probably about a year and a half around there when they do. And so I just ignored it, and I put my arm across his chest, and I changed him like that. He didn't fuss for very long with me because he knew that it was no point, right? Anyway, with Dad, Dad would say, if I get you a toy, will you do that? I would get a cup of tea and stand in the doorway and watch the show. It was fun. They learn who's in charge really young, okay? Doesn't mean they're not going to act up, but they don't tend to do it quite as much as they do with the pleaser parent. And that's very common to have a leader and a pleaser. You very rarely will have 2 leaders in the house because kids only need one. And you're the one. The leader is the one they go through right through the teen years, and they tell everything to. So, yeah, it's just the way it works. But yeah, they don't need 2 leaders. They just need one. But the pleaser has to defer to the leader if anything's contentious. If the kids are asking for, I'll give you a funny example of this. My mom was the leader. My dad was the pleaser. And I knew whatever I asked Dad, he would say yes to because he was the pleaser, right? So I remember once mom was just out of earshot, and I whispered to Dad, I said, Daddy, can I please have this? And I knew Mom wouldn't want me to have it. And he said, sure, sweetie pie. And he goes, let's check with Mom first. And I said, oh, never mind. Because I knew if he checked with Mom, she'd say, are you kidding me? Oh, it's funny. So he deferred to me. Even though he was the pleaser, he deferred to Mom. Even though he was the pleaser, he deferred. And my ex-husband did that too. So it works. My 3-year-old now loves to cry and prolong bedtime. Check out my Bedtime Battles course. It's one of my mini toddler courses. It's called Bedtime Battles. It's in 2 parts. The first part is how to get them in bed. The second part is how to keep them there. It gets ugly. Second part's the hard part. It's ugly, but it's usually only one night or a really bad night. They might put up a little bit of a stink the next night or 2, but usually they realize, hey, wait a minute, this isn't going to work. And especially at 3. The course goes from 2 to 8. Aw, you're a rock star. I love your stuff. My wife's inbox is jammed with your posts. Oh, that's so cute. A lot of people are getting great results just watching me on these lives or looking at my videos. You don't need to hire me. Sometimes you do, but I mean, you can just that's why I'm here. I'm here every day, just talking and answering questions. Because most people don't want to hire me, or they're not going to, or they can't afford to, or whatever. I still want to be able to get my information out there and help people. And I get emails every single day. Say, I've just been watching your lives for the last 2 years or whatever, and this has happened, that. So that's why I keep turning up. I love that. Does any of your advice change for kids on the spectrum? Oh, absolutely, ASD. I don't discuss that on here. That's a specialty, and I only discuss that during coaching because every child's unique. They're very different. What works really well with one autistic child may completely crash and burn with another. So I don't discuss that here. If you want to work with me with autistic children, you have to tell me, email me, and tell me what's going on. And if you want to work with me, that would be coaching. So you can check that out. It's on the link above, but you have to email me. You can't sign up automatically on my website anymore. I'm just too busy. So, yeah. And if I don't get right back to you, it just means I'm not taking on new clients. But I'll get back to you when I can. Carrie from the UK. I've got clients from all over the world. I've learned so much about the world. I can't say what country this is from. I would love to. It's a country I'd never heard of. I looked it up. It's got a huge population. I'd never even heard of it. So I'm like, where have I been? So yeah, I love it. Okay, Carrie from the UK. So pleased to finally, just scrolled ahead. I didn't do it. It did it. Actually, it doesn't usually do that. Instagram doesn't usually do that. TikTok does. Okay, it should be soon now. Sorry, I lost it. Hopefully I'll come across it again. Unless you took it down, because it just blipped out. So maybe you took your question down. My 6-year-old doesn't listen to anything I ask her to do. How can I get them to get their shoes on, get dressed, etc. with 2 younger children? Okay, 6 years old, put on the behavior board, and you just pick one thing. Say, put your shoes on within 5 minutes of being asked to do so. Something like that, and then follow through. There's a consequence if they don't. Check out the behavior board. It explains all that. Also, if you've got 2 younger kids and you've got a 6-year-old, you might want to check out the boot camp course. It's all about you and your leadership. None of this is about your kids. We don't fix kids. I teach parents. I don't fix kids. They're not broken. They're just reacting to your parenting. That's all it is. Now, I've worked with hundreds of kids. I got respect with all of them. Toddlers, teenagers, delinquent teenagers, wild toddlers. I got respect with all of them. Was it them or me? It's your leadership. It's everything. Okay. I'm the pleaser, but struggling with my kids listening to me without me having to say things 100 times or yelling. Well, both of those are fear-based parenting techniques. Repeating yourself and yelling. They're fear-based. I don't repeat myself and I don't yell. So anyway, check out the boot camp course. It teaches you how to be a leader. It's 5 weeks long. You don't shorten it though. Some people do. Everyone wants week 4. You've got to do weeks 1 through 3 first. That's I'm teaching you how to do this. Step 1, step 2, step 2. Everyone wants 4. But yeah, you can read the whole course as soon as you get it, but don't rush it. Then you go back and you do it. It's all laid out. It's paced out. I've been doing this for 17 years. It's paced out very carefully. I took a bunch of parents through it with me when I first built that course, and they agreed. It was paced out really well. Start slow, and just so that you don't get overwhelmed either. It's 5 weeks. I don't want it to be 5 weeks of hell. I want it to be 5 weeks of manageable leadership learning. That's a horrible saying. That's why I'm not in marketing. Manageable leadership learning. It's horrible. Gosh. 4-year-old gets angry and wants to break things. Work on your leadership. That does not happen. Children who have calm leaders do not act like that. So they're just responding to your parenting. From the age of 3 to 12 years old, all of their behavior is completely connected to your parenting. Just is. So yeah, work on your parenting. That wouldn't happen. Check out the boot camp course. I'm really proud of that thing. I worked really hard on that boot camp course. If you want to hire me, it's a lot more money to work with me one-on-one The boot camp course, if you're just having normal everyday problems like most other people with disrespectful kids, the boot camp course is probably all you need. You got a 2-year-old running around hitting you when they're mad. Now, when they're upset. So they're not tantruming, they're just hitting when they're mad. I've got 2 courses. I've got a tantrum course and one toddlers who hit and bite, etc. That one is not during a tantrum. You deal with it differently. So you might want to check out the toddlers who hit course. It's just basically consistent corrective actions. Every time they hit, you say no and you push them away. When they go to hit again, you stop it and you push them away and you say no. Keep doing it. 100 times they might learn. It's rough. I can see my eye is all hooded. I woke up in the middle of the night rubbing my eye. I don't know why. And when I woke up, it was just a slit. I couldn't even hardly see out of my eye. I don't know what happened. Anyway, it was all red and inflamed. It's still kind of hard to open my eyes really big. Isn't that weird? Yeah, I can see it now. Anyway, I thought, how am I going to get to the gym? So because I work out every morning really early. So I've got ice cubes on my eye so I can see. Plus, I didn't want people to think that I got into a fight at the bar the night before. Puffy eye. Okay, 3-year-old ends up in my bed every night. What do I do? Okay, check out my bedtime battles course. That's all. It's in 2 parts: how to get them to bed, then how to keep them there. It is rough, okay? But it's worth it. Short-term pain for long-term gain. Everyone wants the rainbow, but I say you got to go through the storm to get to the rainbow. Plus, the bigger the storm, the bigger the rainbow. The worse that first night is, the less likely they are to get out of bed again. Okay, if it's not that bad the first night, they might just give in a little bit, and then the next night they might kick up a bigger storm. So yeah, you got to be willing to go through the storm. Check out the bedtime battles course. That's what it's made for. It's for bedtime battles. 2 to 8 years old. It's a process. It's like potty training. It's a whole system. Potty training, that's my favorite course. My favorite toddler course. It's the potty, because it's a party. It's messy, but it's a party. Okay. What to do if a toddler is misbehaving for attention, especially when around family? Just ignore it, or I don't know. That's not really. I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Like, what I mean is that's not really an issue. Like, they're just toddlers. They're nuts. Okay. My top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Number 1, child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2 is you set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Number 3 is when you want to connect with a toddler, you do so in their world. You don't take them to the nail salon. You go to the park and roll down the hill with them. Number 4 is kind of similar. When you're disciplining a toddler, you do so in their world. It's consistent corrective actions. It's not words. These mini therapy sessions that are so popular right now, they're garbage. It's absolute crap. I don't know whoever invented that. A 2-year-old does not need a therapy session. Okay, they need actions. And number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They're just forming. They've got 1 marble and some tumbleweed floating around in here. That's about it. Cute as a button, but all feet, no brains. Don't try and figure them out. They might even go like this and smear poop on the wall. Can you figure that out? Yeah. Don't overanalyze them. Just survive it. It's just physically demanding with toddlers. What do you do when we go out with friends and our friends let their kids watch something and we don't let our kids watch anything? We have meals and she wants to watch them. Oh, let them watch it. When you're out, there's no rules. Like it's the house rules. Yeah, just let them watch. When you go home, they'll learn that when you go out to that person's place, they can watch TV or whatever. But when they're home, they won't do it. They understand that. School's different, daycare's different, home's different. There's different rules at different places. You can't be consistent everywhere. Like with that, you know what I'm saying? I'm a very consistent mother when it comes to discipline. Like if the kids act out, I'm exactly the same no matter where I am. But with stuff like that, yeah, like I'm a real health food nut and my kids would go to birthday parties. They could eat whatever they wanted. Like I never had any of that junk at my house, but they could eat whatever they wanted when they went out. And they always came home with stomach aches, but that's fine. They learned. But yeah. And my 2-year-old hits her head and chin on the table. Yeah, so they bang themselves up when they're having a tantrum. You physically restrain them when they're having a tantrum and they're hurting themselves, someone else, or damaging property when they're little. You don't do that with a teenager. If they're damaging property, let it fly. You try and intervene if they're hurting themselves or someone else. But anyway, so yeah, you just physically restrain them. You still don't look at them or talk to them. So they're starting to bang their head, you just hold them. And then when they calm down a little bit, let them go. So they start doing it again, just hold them again. You might say no. And then just look away. No eye contact or talking to them. New here, and in what feels like a discipline checkpoint with my 4-year-old, becoming very testy, never spanked or popped before. What's popped? I think I know. Is that kind of a hit? I don't know. I've seen your opinion on timeout. I hate it. How do you feel about spanking? Yeah, it's one of those fear-based parenting things. You hit, you yell, because you do timeout because you don't know what else to do. Okay, you don't need to do any of those things. I teach leadership, but start with the behavior board. It's the best advice I've got for free. If you want to get the boot camp course, that's the next level up. That teaches you how to be a leader from 3 to 12 years old. It's all about you. All of this is about you. I don't teach kidding or teenagering. I teach parenting. We're not fixing kids. We're teaching parents here. You lead, they will follow. They naturally are drawn to a leader. All their behavior between the ages of 3 and 12 is a direct result of your parenting. All of it. You don't want to interfere with their basic nature or basic personality, but what you're after is you want them to learn how to respect themselves and other people. That's all we're after here. It's respect themselves and other people. We want them to like themselves, have high self-esteem. Have you ever seen a naughty child with high self-esteem? Guaranteed their self-esteem is in the toilet. If they're rude, disrespectful, their self-esteem is in the toilet. Guaranteed. So yeah, leaders have kids with confidence and high self-esteem because they have a voice. Believe me, if I messed up, my kids were very quick. They were on that like you wouldn't believe. Mom, I think you messed up. Yeah, I know. What do you want? We'd love to go to the water slide park tomorrow. Fine. So yeah, I was very accountable. My son was a teenager and I said, and I'm really good at apologizing if I mess up because I'm accountable. And my kids are too. They're very good at apologizing. So anyway, I said, I'm really good at apologizing. And my son said, that's because you've had so much practice. He was very quick. Okay, you said, I've been so mixed up how to raise my boys, struggling to lead, and with that perspective, I can problem solve this in this framework. Great, okay, it's just common sense. I just teach common sense. You lead, they will follow. Children desperately need, crave, and want a leader. If they don't have a leader at home, they're going to be very vulnerable out there in the world. They're going to be very vulnerable to peer pressure, the drug dealer around the corner, bullying, the internet, the Kardashians. They're going to go searching for a leader elsewhere. When you're a leader at home, they tell you everything and they run everything by you. That's why I never told my kids what to do. They told me everything and then they just worked it out themselves when we were talking. I would have some input. I might tell them what I did at their age, but yeah, I kind of wanted them to work things out on their own. And they did because they told me everything. When you've got a parent that is a safe place to learn that you can tell everything to, you're a very good problem solver. I've been recommending you to many of our parents in our 2 and 3 classrooms. Thanks so much for that. A huge portion of my clients are teachers, principals, and child psychologists. I could never do their job, by the way. They're brilliant at what they do. Teachers are like God to me. You know how many years I've spent in the back of classrooms dealing with difficult kids, supporting the teacher? I couldn't do it. I couldn't be a teacher. I just have nothing but respect for teachers. Anyway, so yeah, but there are different roles. You can't always overlap. What happens at school can't always happen at home and vice versa. Teaching, principling, and child psychology, they're businesses. They're just different. They're professional roles. This one's personal. It's different. It's just different. So, but a lot does overlap. A really good example of what does not overlap in a classroom and at home, but works really well in the classroom, but horrible at home, is a reward chart. I hate reward charts at home. Hate them. Work great in school. It's an institution. 30 other kids are on that board too, reward charts. Okay, it works beautifully. At home, it's a disaster. You know what a reward chart says to your kids? It says, you're normally rotten, but if you should happen to be good, you'll get a gold star. Now, a behavior board says, you're normally wonderful, but if you should happen to mess up, I know how to deal with it. You see the difference? I would never reward a kid just for being good. To me, that's the baseline. Okay, I got to get going. I'm moving over to TikTok now. If you want to join me over there, it's Bratbusters Parenting. Anyway, check out the link above. It's you can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can hire me for coaching. You can't do that on my website anymore. I'm just too busy. Send me an email, say coaching in the subject line. If it's a crisis, put down crisis, okay? If you're a past client, put down past client. I'll prioritize those ones. The rest of them, if I don't get to you right away, I'm just too busy. Like I can't take on a new client. But I'll get to you as soon as I can. You're in the lineup. I've got you. I go by date. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. And I'm going over to TikTok now. Happy parenting. I'm talking to YouTube now just because I'm moving over. When people leave early on Instagram, it's because they're clicking out and they're going over to TikTok. A lot of people transfer from Instagram to TikTok. Not so much from Facebook to the others. It's interesting. Oops, I'm on the wrong channel. Oops, I've got a personal one too. I've done that before. I've done a live on my personal one and people go, what are you talking about on here? Parenting? What? Come on. There we go. On my personal account, I just talk about being an old lady and fit. I'm really into fitness, so boring, you wouldn't be interested. Okay. This is from Guiding Light on YouTube. My 3-year-old calls his older sister 11, and brother 6 names. So your 3-year-old calls them names. Okay, I won't deal with the rest because there's no point. If you've got a 3+-year-old calling names, you put down no name calling on the behavior board. Everyone has to be on that behavior board, but that would be his rule. No name calling. When he does, he has to do something nice for the person that he called a name for. Whatever, I don't know. But anyway, check it out. Check out the behavior board. It'll explain all that. Yeah. The behavior board starts at the age of 3. Under that, they're just toddlers. They're about consistent corrective action. Yeah, they're just nuts. So cute as a button, but they're all feet, no brains. They pick up a lot, though. You know what I think with toddlers? They pick up a lot, but they don't process it till they're about 3. But they're still watching and they're learning. But they're not really acting it out or processing it quite yet. But they're watching. Really good page. Thank you. Can you please greet my child, Jason? He's a fan of your. Hi, Jason. How old's Jason? How old is Jason? Wendy, I love co-sleeping with my 3-year-old. How long is this okay to do? Well, as long as you're comfortable doing it. You know, I'm not going to judge that because that's not a parenting thing to me. That's a personal choice. Like, it's not a leadership parenting thing. You know, it's like asking me about religion, asking me about how long should I breastfeed for? You know, there's certain things that are just personal choices. And that's one of those. If you like co-sleeping, do it till I think about 8 is when they say you should really stop, 6 or 8 around there. But I don't know. I've never done it really. I just did it when they were babies. But yeah, that's up to you. That's a personal choice. I follow this YouTuber. I don't think I'll say her name because I don't know if that's appropriate to say on here. It's a cleaning channel. Of course, I love cleaning. So she's the best cleaner out there. Anyway, she co-slept with her kids for years, and then they just eventually stopped doing it. They didn't want to do it anymore. But I think they were about 7 or 8 when they stopped. Yeah, I think they were about 7 or 8. And they just lost interest. But she had 3 kids, single mom, and they were all sleeping like on the little mattresses around. They'd crawl up in the bed with her, and then they'd go down their own bed. So she had it all set up, and that's great. You know, it worked for them. And she missed it when they stopped co-sleeping. But 7.5. Is that Jason? That's cute. Hi, Jason. Why on earth would a kid be a fan of mine? What on earth could a child find the least bit interesting about anything I have to say? I'm going to have to watch my language now because I know some kids do watch. Sometimes I say words that are not horrible, but can you elaborate on childproofing your home? Is this beyond the essential safety stuff? A little bit. I'll tell you why. If you've got a climber especially, there's 4 different personality traits that children, or things that children will do or they'll never do. One of them is tantrums. One of them is running. When they take off, they don't look behind. Another one is climbing. That's very similar. They have no safety, like they don't care. They're daredevils. The other one is hitting. They're either going to do those 4 things. They're born with that in them. They're either going to do them or they're never going to do them, okay? So climbing scares me because I remember once I was working with this client and she told me this story. She had an 18-month-old little girl and she couldn't find her. She was so close to calling the police. She looked everywhere in the whole house. She thought someone had broken into her house, stole the child, and then gone out. She'd just seen the kid 5 minutes before. Anyway, she spent ages running around the house looking for this kid. And then she went in the kitchen. She was going to phone the police and she heard giggling. This kid, 18 months old, had climbed up on top of the fridge and was up there. Now imagine if that kid had fallen off the fridge. So I said, what you do from now on, because she pulled out the drawers, and you know, they're kind of like this, like she had like a stick through the handles, but this little girl got her toes just in a little bit of the steps, climbed up onto the counter, then climbed up onto the bread maker, then on top of the fridge. Anyway, so I said, what you do is you put bells on anything. If you can't childproof, put bells on things they're going to use to climb, or bells on anything you don't want them touching, or alarms. So yeah, it's hard work. And you got to watch them like a hawk too. If you got a climber, some of them, this is the worst one I ever heard of. this was horrible. This kid really but I think they were about 6 though. They could climb walls. Like in a hallway, they could get their hands and their feet on either side. Now this family had like 18-foot ceilings, and this kid would go up till 18 feet. That is how on earth do you childproof that? So anyway, yeah, climbers are scary. That's probably the worst one, is climbing, because I see it as the most dangerous. You can put a leash on a runner, but what do you do with a climber? My son is 4 years old and has the worst tantrums when told no. Okay, that's on you. In other words, he's just doing what works. By the age of 3.5 to 4, they only do what works. There has to be a payoff. They must work at times. You must give in to those. You have to. He wouldn't keep doing it at 4 years old. So set yourself up as a leader, and that won't happen. Yeah, you must give in. They must work, because they only work past the age of 4. They only do what works. They're not stupid like us adults. I do the same thing repeatedly, expecting different results. I'm a real idiot with that. I love routines and habits. And I think, well, I want different results. Why? Stupid. But kids aren't like that. They only do what works. They're very adaptable. So if something isn't working, they move on to something else. All of a sudden, you're a leader. They start respecting you. They move on to that. So check out the boot camp course. That's for you if you want to learn how to be a leader. They're not respectful. They don't have big tantrums. It tends to regulate their emotions. It happens organically. They feel safe when they're with a leader. It just regulates them. Do I have any parents of teenagers on here? So I was going to read something out, but if I don't have any parents of teenagers, I won't bother. I'm just waiting to see. Just because it's a good question I got, but if there's no parents of teenagers, okay, never mind. 4.5-year-old, yeah. Okay. You have 3 teenagers? Okay. This is a question, and it came up, I don't know. I don't answer questions outside of the lives usually. I just don't have time. So, but this one came up, and every so often I have someone who works with me, and they'll send me questions that they think, I should answer. So this one is, please, please, please. This was on, I think on Facebook, on the comments, or a message or something. Please, please, please give an in-depth example like this, how to connect with kids, for those of us starting leadership late in the game, boys nearly 14. Boys nearly 14. Okay, so you got like a 13-year-old boy, and the first thing you do with a teenager is, when I'm working with parents who have teenagers, they're my favorite age, they're my specialty, is you got to connect and bond with them. You got to find a way to enter their world, invited, not uninvited, and you got to find a way to connect with them in their world. It gives you a lot more clout. Okay, and I'll tell you a story. This is a true story, me and my son. My son was 14 years old, and he was like my girlfriend. We talked about everything. We giggled. He was great. Like, we just had a blast. Very funny guy. And every morning I'd get up. He'd be in the kitchen, and I'd say, "Morning, sweetie." And he'd go, "Morning, Mom." The voice cracking. And then he turned 15. 15 is a real age for boys. The hormones kick in, everything, the beards, everything changes. Anyway, he was 15, and it was the same routine every morning. "Morning, sweetie." And he turns around. His face looked different. It was like overnight. He was turning into a man. He turned around and he went, "Morning, Mom." His voice had dropped. He just looked different. And I thought, oh, my girlfriend's gone. Like, all of a sudden he was turning into a man. So anyway, as time went on, I missed him. I missed all this girlfriend stuff. He wasn't my girlfriend, but you know what I'm saying. We were like best friends, right? So anyway, I thought, how am I going to connect with him? He liked heavy metal music and video and PlayStation games. And those were his interests, and his friends in that too. But obviously you don't get in on that. But I thought, how am I going to connect with him? I don't like any of those things. So I thought, I know what I'll do. So I got a magazine, and he was down the rec room playing PlayStation, doing some racing game or something. So I sat down beside him, and I didn't say a word. I just sat with a magazine, and I just started leafing through it. And I'd look up every so often. He didn't say a word. So I'm making it very clear I'm available, and I was waiting for an invitation. Next thing you know, he's starting to talk to me about his game. And then next thing you know, he's handing me a controller, and we're playing video games together. Then next thing you know, he's making me a playlist of music, heavy metal music he thinks I might like. Darned if I didn't like a whole bunch of it. There was some Scottish band that I really liked. And then also I really liked NWA's Greatest Hits. Oh, there's a kid on here. Anyway, it's really bad. But anyway, I changed my view of music through him. And you got to open your mind to their world too. So anyway, this is really funny though. So that was how we bonded. I just played furniture and waited till he invited me into his world. And that's how we reconnected as he was growing up. Anyway, and then other things too. It wasn't just that, but you know what I mean. So you want to work on your connection. Then you've got a whole, but then you can talk to them about anything. Do not use that opportunity to discuss all the big stuff. A lot of parents do this. They'll get in a game, they'll be playing a game, then they say, by the way, can we talk about something? Oh, you just wrecked it all. You wrecked the whole experience. If they think you're going to get into serious stuff and start disciplining them, if they invite you into their world to play, they're never going to do it again. So be really careful with that, okay? Never, if you're going to talk to them about something big, do it in the car or somewhere else. Do not use those opportunities when they've invited you into their world. Do not use that as an opportunity to discipline them or talk about the big stuff. They will shut you out. And they should. Anyway, funny story. We were playing this racing game, along a track with cars. I am horrible at that. Like, I can't get perception of where I am. I am horrible at it. Anyway, so we were playing, and I was always going off a cliff. And so we were laughing all the time at how horrible I was. But he was really trying to help me out. So he goes to the bathroom. While he's in the bathroom, darned if I didn't nail it. I just got the most perfect lap. Like, perfect. I couldn't believe it. He comes back out of the bathroom, and I said, sweetie, you wouldn't believe it. I said, I just got the most perfect lap, and you missed it. He's looking at me like I'm nuts. And I said, what? And he goes, Mom, that was my replay. I thought it was me doing it. So we had a lot of laughs over Dopey Mom. You see, that's how you connected. Anyway, so that's my best advice. If you've got a teenager, is to connect with them first. Enter their world, waiting to be invited. Make it very obvious that you're open to listening to their music, their world, and them teaching you about it. But don't use that as an opportunity to lecture them. Good luck with that if you do. They're going to shut you right out. I'm going to read my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers. These are good ones. Well, obviously, I think they are because I wrote them. But anyway, number 1, listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. Okay. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. This is for teenagers. And number 2, with teenagers, negotiate pretty much everything. Say, look, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? It's not a blanket statement, but you get the idea. Back and forth, back and forth. When they feel respected, they tend to respect you more too. They don't tend to get unrealistic about it. They don't tend to push or anything. Number 3 is don't sweat the small stuff with teenagers. If they do something and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And laugh it off. In other words, it's okay to make mistakes. We all do. We're all human. Okay. Sorry, I'll get back to the regular questions now. My son is 2.5, hitting. I keep saying no, removing myself, moving him. It's been a while. Any tips? Yeah, check out. I do have a course on that. It's my mini course. It's a horrible name. Toddlers Who Hit and Bite, I think I called it. I can't remember. I've tried different names. I did name it aggressive toddlers, but I don't like calling toddlers aggressive. So that's why Toddlers Who Hit and Bite just sounds cuter. But anyway, check that out if you're interested. Basically, it's about consistent corrective action, but you got to do it every single time. If you do it 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work. They'll remember the one time you messed up. They just do. They never remember the good stuff about you. They always remember the bad stuff. My son was a teenager, and we were laughing one night. We were just chatting really late one night, and we were giggling at all the stupid things I've done as a mother. And I've done some really dopey things. So anyway, we were just laughing at it. And then I said, what about all the great stuff I've done? He went, what? They remember all your flaws? But think about it. Do you remember the Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner that everything went great? Or do you remember the one where you undercooked the turkey? We always remember that stuff. That's what makes us funny or vulnerable and human. Okay. Where were you when my mother was parenting me? I was here. I was here. Oh, this one's funny. Oh, and I'll tell you why. Can you advise on cow's milk versus goat's milk? I'm not a nutritionist, so no, I can't. I can't talk about nutrition. No. Do we have to pay for the course? Yes, you do. The behavior board's free. The courses are not, and coaching is the most expensive. That's one-on-one time with me. I can't take everyone these days, but you have to send me an email if you want to work with me, and we'll go from there and see if it works out. How to get a child to sit nicely in waiting room. He's 3. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, I can't answer that. I'll tell you why. Someone asked me a question. They said, how do I get a 2-year-old to sit quietly in church? It's the same answer. I don't know. Are you a leader or not? Like, it depends on your leadership skills. I can't tell you how to do that unless you're a leader. Like, I don't know if you're a leader. And even then, it's kind of a big ask. Any tips when introducing new baby to the family? Nope. I'll tell you why. It's almost, unless they're older kids and they've already had a new sibling come into the house, it's impossible to understand how that's going to change the household. They can't possibly understand. You can't. Imagine when you're thinking about having your first baby, was it exactly like you predicted it was going to be, or were there lots of surprises? It's like that. You really can't prepare them. In the hospital, you'll see like a 2-year-old holding the new baby and just, waboo, and they're all sweet and you're going to go, oh, this is going to go great. You get home and they pick the baby up and throw him on the floor. I mean, they're like, oh, you brought that thing home? I didn't know it was going to stink and scream and take my mommy and daddy away from me. You really can't prepare them for how their life is going to change with a new baby. They'll adjust. It's transition time. Transitions are hard. That's normal. So I'm just scrolling back a bit because I know I missed so many. I just wonder, like sometimes people are answering other people's comments and I'm always curious. I get real snoopy. Like, what are you talking about there? Okay. Do you have a podcast? No, I'm not sure I ever will. I'm really busy right now. And a podcast, it's a lot of work. And I'm not so sure it's for me. I think might be more likely to write a book one day. I don't know. Podcasts are a lot of time. And my favorite thing to do is coaching. And I'd have to take away from coaching to do like my favorite thing. I'm mothering all those clients. So, and I've got I just love it. So do I really want to take away from coaching to podcast? Maybe one day, but not now. I did try a podcast years ago. It just wasn't the right time. Just because there's no back and forth. Podcast is all one-sided. That's what I didn't like about it. It was just me talking to me. Grandmother crossing the line, meaning me. Okay, this comes up a lot. People ask me about this. How do I handle the in-laws or my mother or whatever telling me what to do, undermining my parenting? There's only one thing I ever recommend, and even that, if it doesn't work, I can't help you. If you say to the person who's undermining your parenting or criticizing it, you say to them, do you know when you criticize my parenting or undermine me, you make me feel bad. It hurts my feelings. If they don't respect that, I can't help you. If they don't respect your feelings, what do you want me to do? Nothing you can say to that. I'll tell you something though. Years and years ago, I learned this skill. There was someone that I knew that was very pushy, very always putting you on the spot. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And there's someone I had to be around a lot. And they're just bossy know-it-alls, right? So I thought, how am I going to deal with this person? So I came up with this brilliant idea. Well, I didn't know it was brilliant at the time, but I thought I'm going to give it a go. So anyway, they came at me, and no matter what I said, they said, why would you do that? It was always questioning, making me explain myself, and you don't want to be rude by saying none of your business. I don't care why, Anyway, I had to be polite. So you know what I said one day? This person said to me, why did you do that? And I said, just like this, I said, crazy Lisa. They went like this, and they never came at me again. Perfect. I couldn't believe how well it worked. Anyway, I've used that on many different people. Difficult, bossy know-it-alls. Anyway, they're not in my life. I don't have to have anyone like that in my life. I've eliminated all those people from my life. I'm in my 60s. I can do whatever I want. Anyway, but with in-laws and that, it's okay to still say, crazy me. Oh, well, bad mother at work. Oh, well. So you can try that. But yeah, that can sometimes antagonize them. Sometimes. But yeah. Oh, well, crazy me. Oh, well, bad mother at work. Here I am. Guilty, But if you haven't done that before, it's harder to do because they know the old you getting upset. So they're going to know that you're onto them. It's a little bit more difficult. Yeah. It's a good one, though. Think about all the people you could use that with. Oh, crazy me. What can they say to that? Whew. Think about it. That's a power statement right there. Yeah, I've used it a few times. What books, websites, resources for learning the leadership skills that you exhibit can I use? I'm the only one who teaches this. It's all through experience. So I've never I have no idea who else is out there or what they teach. I've never read a book on kids or parenting or looked at a website on kids or parenting. It's all just kids taught me all this. So I'm the only website I know that teaches this. Like, you know what I mean? I invented it. So yeah, it's just my own personal style. And is it the only way to parent? God, no. It's like saying this is the only religion. There's lots of different ways to parent. This one's just worked beautifully with me, with all the hundreds of kids I've worked with and my own kids. And it's worked. And plus I've had fun. I like to lead with fun. I used to say my weapon of choice when I was working with kids was fun and humor. That's how I pulled them in and kept their respect. And this fun and humor. Okay, what time is it? I got to get going. Okay, so thanks so much for joining me. This was one of my unscheduled lives. Tomorrow is my scheduled live. It's Thursday. So anyway, check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course. That's 3 to 12 years old. It's all about you. It's all about you and your leadership. 5 weeks. Anyway, and then the last one is coaching. That's I can't take everyone on. I'm super busy these days. You can send me an email. If it's urgent, put down crisis. Or if you're a past client, put down past client. I'll give those priority. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me and happy parenting. Bye now.